Actually, this was the original sample you supplied to us. Is the one label actually we just applied onto the cardboards, and that is the second label. Depending how you have the label on the reels, this is how you actually have to transport the product. You can also transport the product this way. We tested actually all 4 directions. It will work. We now used the same label just on the front and on the back side, just to demonstrate that it's possible. All right. The most tricky part is actually the separation process itself. So let me just show you that we also can transport the product sideways without actually labeling it right now. Just to show you, no matter how you have the label on the reels, you can transport the products in any direction, okay? Okay, let's say we have a stack of products in the conveyor feeder. Actually what it does, it always pulls the lowest product out of the stacker, alright? Pulls the lowest one out. So let's say in this case, these cardboard boards are glued together this way, alright? So while actually it works very well in all 4 directions, we have a much better result if we transport the cardboards this way, yeah? So that actually the overlapping part is pointing to the left side, alright? Because this way actually it cannot interfere with the product above. It will be smoothly drawn out, okay? It will be smoothly drawn out. If it's going the other way around, there's always a risk, but since the cardboard is cut out here, that this overlapping part is trying to pull in the product above, okay? So there is a chance that 2 products land on the conveyor belt. So please make sure to talk with your label manufacturer to produce the labels in the way that this is how you pull out the products, okay? If you go sideways, this doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter if you go in this direction or in this direction. There's no chance that the product will jam, okay? Both will run smoothly. But generally, to get the best result, if you have the stack like that, make sure the overlapping part is pointing in to the left direction, okay? So this is how you want to pull out the products. This way you can make sure it will work 100%. The other one works also quite well, but only 99%. There's always a chance that every 100th piece it's gonna try to pull out 2 products onto the conveyor belt, or it will jam in the input feeder, okay? So please make sure when you produce the batch of labels to take this into your consideration. Okay, now this is the second test run for the Devon chunky sausage rolls. These are now for the other cartons we got supplied as samples. Since the label is actually quite long, we had the only chance where we can position the label here is this place. I don't know which labels you want to actually apply to these. First we start the labeling part, and then the conveyor feeder, and then of course also the automated input feeder. Okay. Okay, now I'm not too happy with the positioning of the labeling actually. As you can see here, it's a little bit too far on the outside and also too far to the right. So what I'm going to do is, I want to dispense the label a little bit later. So I'm going to turn the label sensor just a little bit to the right. Plus, I want to change the Y positioning by moving here in the other direction, here, this direction. Perfect, okay. It's here, it overlaps here a little bit, so I'm not too happy. I don't want the label to overlap. I'll pull that back off. Just wanted to show you how easily you can change the labeling position and then turn the machine back on. Still better, not happy yet. Okay, so now we actually ran out of labels. You really supplied us just about 100 labels or 50 labels on this roll for full automation. However, I mean, you could see that the products run through very well. The positioning is also very accurate. I was not happy with the positioning in general now. but it's just very, very easy. It's still too far on the edge. It's right on the edge. I showed you can just change the positioning but with this wheel, okay? You can change the X positioning, and here you can change the Y positioning by just repositioning the product sensor. Other than that, you can see the products run through very well. Okay, we're going to do a test run with the third products now, and then we can make sure all 3 type of products work. This is the labels you provided. Actually, for automation, we recommend please to supply the labels or ask for your label manufacturer to supply them on the carton roll. This is actually quite big. The minimum is about 2 centimeters diameter, alright? Of course, the smaller the inner diameter of the carton is, the more labels you actually can get onto the roll, alright? But please, because we cannot use them like that, we actually have to re-roll them on the carton core before we can use them in automation, alright? So please speak to your label manufacturer for the future. Also, as you could see, we didn't have enough labels, so the labels were finished. What we're going to do now is we're going to put these onto a carton core, put them here, and then glue actually the first label onto the remaining paper. Okay, the remaining paper we have here. This way we don't lose too many labels, otherwise we have to fiddle through the whole thing again. We can just connect it to the remaining part, and this where we will not lose any labels, since we do not have too many labels left for the continuous test runs, alright? Okay, we now actually put the labels onto a carton roll, as you can see here. So now you can just load the label, just pull it down here. I'm going to show you completely how actually to load the label. Pull it through here. This is the brush. You have to put it between the label sensor here. This is the label sensor. And then this is the label dispensing edge. Okay, you can take off this metal bar. To load the label, just raise the label slide. That's the easiest. Okay, and just pull out. You're gonna lose 1 or 2 labels, and then push. Please just turn off. Here's a button to turn off the labeling part. So, and then make sure it's in between those 2 bars. These are to keep the label in place. Okay, so you have accurate positioning. All right. So lose another label here. Let's stick that here right now, and then just glue it together. Just use this one to glue it together. Okay. Let's hope it's enough, because it actually is quite a little bit of tension. When it dispenses the next label, we're going to see whether it's tight enough. You got to turn on the label mechanism again, then press label set. Okay, as you can see, it worked. All right. When you press label set, it's actually to detect the gap between each label. You should have the label set right to the edge here. All right. So now, once that is okay, you can lower the slide again. In this case, since the cardboards are quite thick, the slide should be lowered just as much, so the cardboards can still go through. You can test that with 1 product, okay? Just put in 1 product and see. Okay, actually it's still quite tight. The product should go right through, but these green rolls should touch the product, so they apply additional pressure onto the label itself when the label is dispensed. Okay, this is how you adjust the label dispensing part. Make sure, now you can see the rolls actually touch the product and pull it through, alright? Could go a little bit more down. Apply a little bit more pressure, that it goes in the same speed like the conveyor belts. It's alright. Okay, we're gonna load the next products now. We can still do a remaining test run for these with turning on the labeling part. We still only have those labels left that you supplied for the test run. Alright, these are now all the sausage chunk products. Okay, very accurate positioning. The products ran through very well. You can see here The labels are all the same position. None of them overlaps now. Label position is perfect. Okay, we're going to do the next product now. Actually, by checking the third product you supplied, we realized that the labels are actually longer than the product itself. We're still going to do the test run now, but of course with these labels, probably these are the wrong labels you supplied. We're gonna put the product at length here now. As you can see, we have 4 conveyor belts here. Since at length, actually the product is much smaller than for the conveyor belt, what you gotta do is, I'm gonna show you, you're gonna hang out the input feeder, and we don't need the last ribbon in that case, okay? So we're just gonna take it off. We're gonna take off the last ribbon, and we're gonna move the sidebar further inside, okay? Am I doing this right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir! Thank you very much. I needed some support from our technical engineer here, because actually I don't operate those machines too often. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything right, alright? So you just leave the one conveyor belt here when you don't need it, alright? And then you can just test if the product runs through. Perfect. It works okay. Like I said, the labels will overlap now. The labels are longer than the products. This is okay for the test run. We just want to make it mechanical test run. If these labels work, every other label will just work as fine as well, alright? So we hang the conveyor belt back in. Now what we have to do is we have to also get the sidebars here in position, alright? We have to move the products to the left to make sure that the product is dispensed correctly. I'm going to do this by adjusting these 2 wheels. Alright, we're going to do that without... Okay. Now we're running the same cardboards through with the labeling part. We only have a very small reel of labels, but as you can see, it works really very good. Actually, the rolls did not press the label onto it, but you can see the dispensing actually works. You have to position the rolls here right above the conveyor belts, and these rolls should also touch the conveyor belts, so actually to apply additional pressure onto the product. Alright. But as you can see, the dispensing mechanism works fine, so it shouldn't be a problem.